The ideas expressed in the following presentations are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of ACI or its committees. ACI web sessions are recorded at ACI conventions or other concrete industry events and will be made available for viewing free of charge for 1 week. Thereafter, they will be archived on the ACI website or added to ACI's online CEU program, depending on their content. You can earn continuing education credits through ACI's online CEU program. Visit www.concrete.org to register. ACI conventions provide an opportunity for networking and for keeping up to date with the latest in concrete technology and practices.
Chris Toll, a professional engineer. He's from Indiana. He's had over 20 years experience. More than that, 11 years with the ready-mix industry, and now he currently is president of his own consulting firm, CRT Consultants. He's done a lot of independent work on roller compacted concrete, and I hope you'll enjoy his presentation on low-volume roads.
Well, I appreciate it. I know not to keep men and women between lunch, and so I will certainly do a good job being thorough, but get you out on time and certainly leave room for questions from all these great speakers. So here's what I thought I'd talk about is what's changed. Wayne, we did this a couple of years ago, right? Where were we? Chicago? I don't know. We did it a couple of years ago, and I thought I'd change what's going on, tell you what's changed in these local projects, tell you a lot of how these projects are being developed in Indiana. Some issues that we're having some challenges with quality, and I want to be upfront about that. I want to talk about that, then talk about a couple of good projects that we have done. Indiana has 92 counties, and we have roller compacted concrete in 33 of them. So we're doing pretty well. I'm here to talk to you about the small stuff. You've heard all about the big stuff, the port, the Corps of Engineers projects. I'm talking maybe 100 cubic yards of RCC in a day. Those kind of projects and really where that fits in and what we're doing. So that's kind of what we'll talk about. What has changed since a couple of years ago is ready-mix producers are now interested in selling roller compacted concrete. I've had discussions with the NRMCA, the National Ready Mix Concrete Association, 2, 3, 4 years ago. They're like, man, that's not us. That's Pug Mill. That's not us. Well, it is them. It is them in ready mix trucks, in their central mix plants. There's been a huge development in equipment that slides underneath concrete plants. We'll talk about that. Asphalt pricing is going crazy. And local agencies are looking for alternatives to make their money go further. So their revenues are down. Local governments are struggling, I'm sure, in your communities as well as my communities. So they're open-minded more than ever before than other ideas in how to build their local streets and roads. The other thing that's changed is the size of the maximum course aggregate. There's a lot of people who think that roller compacted concrete is ugly. And what I find it interesting is that the people that think it is really ugly and the people get excited about how the aesthetics of roller compacted concrete are the conventional concrete paving guys. They're like, oh my God, did you see that? That's horrible. What are we going to do? And you go talk to the county engineer and they go, it's a county road. What do I care what it looks like? It looks fine to me. What's it look like? It looks like base course of asphalt. So to you guys' point, expectations, very good comment. You got to set the expectations. If your customer is expecting a tined or a broom finish, he's not going to be very happy with the roller compacted concrete. So we've done that, and we've got dropped down from 1 inch aggregate to about 5/8 inch. I think there's a hit to the strength, but some of the strength requirements that you've seen here today, we've got plenty of strength, plenty of strength. So it's more aesthetically pleasing. And what we've had in years past, that was our RCC. Now this is our RCC. So it looks a lot better. People are talking about, I've got base course mixes, I've got surface mixes. Are you going to cap my RCC with asphalt? If you are, then this is going to be fine. If you're going to leave it open, I'm going to do this. So that's been a development that's happened for us in the Midwest over the years. Twin shaft mixers are coming into the market big time. Frank showed this picture. That's how we used to do it. It works great. Don't tell me you can't do this, because you can. Frank showed the numbers. Some of these smaller asphalt pavers are used to putting down 80, 100 tons an hour, 50 cubic yards an hour. This is certainly an option for roller compacted concrete. So I think a lot of people, when they think about roller compacted concrete, when I talk to them, the first thing they think about is dams. How am I going to take a process to build a dam and do a county road with? Well, do you have a ready mix producer in your county? Yes. Well, then you can get roller compacted concrete, and you can get it there efficiently. But what's happening now, this is the same machine that Frank showed. These guys have got this twin shaft mixer that they hook that into any dry batch plant, and it's a twin shaft, so it makes this plant into a pug mill. And it's 2 batches go into that truck. It's working very, very well. This is working great, but some of the guys are saying, man, I'm going to have to get inside my trucks. I need to clean them out a little more than I would like. So this is starting to come more into play. Okay? I will say that this works great, but it's always good if your trucks have fins in them. Okay? You laugh until you look. If in any concrete process, the economy has been horrendous to the ready mix industry. Frank knows that all too well. So unfortunately, in some markets, maintenance of equipment is struggling a little bit. So if you're going to do this with half load sizes, 4 or 5 cubic yards in a truck, then you need to make sure that the fins are in good shape. Okay, so I would caution you to do that. And by the way, they do have trucks where it comes out the front. Not all of it has to come out the back. So there's that deal. That's been a change in our market. It's been very good. High-density pavers are becoming more and more prevalent. The contractors that have high-density pavers will tell you that you have to have a high-density paver. The guys without one will tell you you don't have to have one. So to me, I think if it's my project and I'm the specifying engineer, if the roller compacted surface is going to be the finished surface, then I'm probably leaning towards a high-density paver strictly for aesthetic purposes. Okay? Density is density. All these guys have talked about density. You talk to engineers, concrete guys, hey, what's the water-cement ratio? What's the strength? You need to focus on the density. That is the one criteria, the only criteria that makes any difference to you. So as far as density, if you have a high-density paver that's going to get you 95% and you get the rest with a roller, great. You have a conventional paver that's going to get you 75%, you're asking more out of your rollers, fantastic. If you want to bring a team of elephants out there, I don't care. Density is density. Now, each of these processes are more aesthetically pleasing than others, so something you got to take that into account. But we're seeing a lot more better aesthetics, and people are investing in high-density pavers. And I think what's happening in the marketplace is the cost of the high densities are going down drastically. So roller marks are always a concern. You know, I've been on a job where there's some roller marks, and the guys tend to have, I'm sure you do have a big 10-ton roller, then you might have a finish roller to kind of clean up some roller marks, and we're on a project, and it's an asphalt contractor, and he's working, and we've got some roller marks, and we say, hey man, why don't you go down there and get that little bitty finish roller, and let's take care of some of those roller marks. He goes, it's clear down there, here's what I'm going to do. I said, I'm just going to wait for this to cool off a little bit, and then I'm going to hit it with this roller, and it'll be fine. It's like, man, this stuff is not cooling off. It's as cool as it's going to get. So there's a lot of asphalt mentality involved with that. So that's been a change. Here's a good shot of a local project. You can see the a fresh joint going in here. This is a project in Indianapolis with a high density paver. You can see that hardly any roller marks are in that pavement. Okay. Here's another shot of a high-density paver on an early morning pour. But really how these projects are being developed, none of the jobs, I won't say none, 95% of the jobs in Indiana are not designed in roller compacted concrete. Okay? They're being designed in asphalt. So these jobs are being flipped from asphalt to roller compacted concrete, and this is why. Wayne, I think you showed this, right? You showed that this is what's going on now. I was pretty good at what I did here, but I'm much better at what I do over here, just because the environment of the cost of these things. And What we're finding is back in the day we would have to say, if you want a concrete pavement, then I'm going to tell you that you're going to invest 25 to 30% more money initially. And then when you do the life cycle cost analysis, then you're going to see over the life of the pavement, when your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren drive down that road, it's going to be working great. And the guy says, you know what, I got $500,000 to build this project, and if the cost is $500,001, it's not being built. Fast forward a few years, we're finding that equivalently designed concrete pavements, including roller compacted pavements, the initial costs are equivalent or less than comparably designed asphalt pavements. And we're seeing that all over the Midwest. Wayne, you're seeing it all over the country. So urge you to get some design, and a lot of people ask me, hey, what's it cost? What's it cost? And I'm like, really? I mean, why do you care what I think it costs? I'm a consultant. I've got paper and pencils. I'm not a contractor. I don't have equipment. So what I always tell people, I say, look, get an equivalent design. You have an asphalt design. I'll help you come up with an equivalent roller compacted design and bid both. Let the market determine what's best for you. You guys are all smart. Let the market determine what's best for you and your communities and your projects. So here's kind of a very busy letter, but this is what I do over and over again. Thank you for roller compacted concrete. I throw in the word sustainability. Everybody here's got to be sustainable, required by law, right? So we're sustainable, blah blah. Past years, life cycle costs. I do a layer coefficient analysis quite a bit. Layer coefficient analysis make pavement engineers cringe because the science is not correct. And I fought this for a long, long time, and I can tell you from a local government, a county engineer, any county, local government people, they understand this. They understand this. So what we kind of do a layer coefficient and come up with an equivalent amount of concrete. And for a local road, about 6 inches of RCC feels about right to me. Okay? If I were to do an equivalent concrete and the answer came out to 2.5 inches, with some of these asphalt sections, sometimes it does, I'm not going to recommend 2.5 inches of roller compacted concrete. So we put that together, and then we go through and we put that out, and then again we ask the guy to say, just bid both, and you decide. You decide what's best for your communities. One thing that I like is Wayne has developed, PCA has developed this document. I talked to Wayne, 3 or 4 years ago, and these asphalt contractors say, how thick's it need to be? Well, 6 inches. And they go, well, what if we put 1.5 inches of asphalt on it? I said, well, how about 6 inches? And they go, well, that's not right. And I go, well, it's probably not, but I don't understand it. So until I understand it, the answer is 6 inches. So Wayne did something very easy, found somebody smarter than I am, and they developed this document that talks about thickness design and roller compacted composite pavements. Huge business, composite pavements. A lot of people like having asphalt surface. They want a disposable surface where about come election time they can mill it off and put it back and make it look good. So what kind of credit do you give for the asphalt? Well, he did a nice job in there, and it says, 4 3/4, 4 3/4 or 4 1/4, 5 3/4, 5 1/4, 6 1/4, 5 3/4. So it looks to me, from what the good work that anything that starts out talking about Poisson ratio, you got to go to Wayne. He'll help you with these things. That it looks to me that 1.5 inches of surface is about 1/2 inch of roller compacted concrete. So that's what we say. All right, we have 6 inches of RCC. Well, I'm going to put 1.5 inches of surface on it. All right, let's go 5.5 inches. And then the issue comes: when do you put the surface on? Well, I'm not going to put the surface on until the subdivision is built in 3 years. Okay. So you're going to put the surface on when 95% of all the loads that pavement's ever going to see, the concrete trucks, the dirt trucks, the excavating, is done. Well, I'm not going to give you credit for that. And by the way, you shouldn't in the asphalt world either. Those guys that leave their asphalt sections on. So that's what we go ahead and we do, and it works out pretty well. And we've been able to convert several of these projects into roller compacted concrete, largely with success. However, in all transparency, I want to talk to you about some issues that we're having in and around the Midwest with some roller compacted concrete. And there are no issues when people follow the rules. When we have good contractors involved, good quality control plants, we don't have issues. If you bend the rules, you're going to get bit, and we've gotten bit. What is the quality control program for asphalt sections? Local streets and roads, county roads for asphalt. What kind of quality control do they have? None. They have rolling patterns that they've done for years. What's the expectations for the performance of asphalt and low-volume roads? Similarly, is none. So what we're finding is that we're working largely with asphalt contractors that don't own their asphalt plants. So they're tired of the asphalt companies sticking it to them, because they place asphalt too. Now they're trying to sell them asphalt at a premium. So they're buying roller compacted concrete, and they're going, well, we don't check the density on our asphalt. We're going to check the density of the roller compacted concrete until we understand what you're doing. So here's a couple issues we've had. We're having issues on fresh joints. This is an entrance to a pretty big job, and we're having some damage with the fresh joint. What I'm learning, Wayne, your PCA guy says 60 minutes, right? Concrete on concrete in 60 minutes. I'm on jobs where it's concrete on concrete in 4 hours. That's what happens. What happens? It dries out. When you roll it, it's not homogeneous. It's not compacted properly. It's not dense. If that gets full of water and it freezes, which it tends to do in the Midwest, what do you get? That's what you get. Here's a question. What do you get in an asphalt street that they don't do the joints properly? You get that. So that's important. So we're trying to work hard with these guys to let them know that's important. And in my opinion, don't count on your ready-mix guys to raise their hand and say, my customer, the guy I'm selling the RCC to, is doing it wrong. It doesn't happen a lot. So what's the rules on the fresh joints? And by the way, I got a nice cautionary tale from a guy, big contractor. He said, I do the control joint drawings, 30 feet on center, right? He goes, well, why are you putting all these longitudinal joints in here? All the fresh joints are going to crack. And I went, ooh. What are your plans for these fresh joints? Well, we go all day and then we come back the next day. Well, that's not a fresh joint. That's a cold joint. So if you're anticipating your fresh joints to crack, then I would tell you they're not fresh joints to start with. So they shouldn't all crack. We're also having some problems with the proctor. Everyone's talked about the soil method. I'm a big fan of the soil method. All the testing labs have familiar with that. We've had one producer who switched plants instead of the north plant and went to the south plant, different sand, different stone, tried to use the same proctor. Didn't have very good results. So, well, god dang, every time we change material, we need to get a new proctor? Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You should pay some attention to that. We need to verify compaction in the field. I'm involved in one project, unfortunately, where all the field density results have come up. All the field density results are acceptable, and the field sampling cores are not. Why is that? I don't know why that is, but it's got me concerned that until I have some comfort level with a particular roller compacted ready-mix team, then I'm going to do some field verification. So here's a couple projects, another version of these Davies County projects that, Frank, you were up here on these things. They're coming through and doing quite a bit of these county roads. They brought in this twin shaft mixer, and again, here's a high density paver going down. Here's Jerry Larson with the Indiana Ready Mix Concrete Association. He's been instrumental in promoting a lot of these jobs. And by the way, Jerry, former county highway supervisor, knows all these guys. You should get to know these guys if you want to do roller compacted concrete. A good base, good high density paver. Probably not the best job curing, but maybe better than some other jobs I've seen. There's the surface texture. It's again, it's not broom finish. If you're expecting broom finish, you're going to be woefully disappointed. One recent project we did is there's a community center, and some of the guys in Indianapolis, these people needed a parking lot. So as a demonstration, we put a parking lot in for the Shepherd Community Center. Showed you that picture before. Small gradation of aggregate, getting smaller and smaller for a better surface appearance is working real well. Have the Caterpillar, it's a high density paver as well, going off with the start off strip and then coming back in and filling in the lanes. Not a lot of roll down with these high density pavers. Not a lot of roll down. And it looks great. So the pavement process has really gone well. That job's been down for about a year. So Thanks for letting me chat with you a little bit.